All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Sarah Labdy. I'm the Director of Advocacy and Policy for Women Employed, and I want to thank everyone for joining us today as we continue to fight for essential rights for Illinois workers. First, I want to thank the two amazing Illinois legislators who are joining us and are committed to advancing workplace rights. They're the co-sponsors of a bill we're urging the Illinois General Assembly to pass this session, the Family and Medical Leave Insurance Act. The Family and Medical Leave Insurance Act would create a state-run insurance program that allows Illinois workers to use the time they need of paid job protective leave each year. Thank you to Representative Sonia Harper for your tireless work on behalf of Illinois workers. And thank you, Senator Ron Villavellum, for your commitment to workplace rights as well. Thank you both for championing this important cause. I also want to acknowledge our outstanding coalition members joining us today. Our coalition represents workplace rights advocates, labor unions, small business groups, many others who are behind countless initiatives to secure workplace rights for Illinois workers. Thank you to Wendy Pollack from the Shriver Center on Poverty Law, Tasha Brown from the Small Business Majority, and Ugo Carey from the Raise the Floor Alliance for being here today. In addition to the many coalition members I know are watching the live stream, you're instrumental in making Illinois a leader in workplace rights. I'm excited to announce that the coalition working on this effort have renamed ourselves to the Illinois Time to Care Coalition. The name, of course, reflects that everyone needs time off of work to care for themselves or a loved one or to welcome a new child. Though our name may have changed, our goals remain the same: to level the playing field for workers, especially women and low-wage workers who have not been afforded the same basic workplace rights as others. Finally, we choose to gather today to mark the 30th anniversary of the Family and Medical Leave Act, which was Sunday, better known as FMLA, a historic law that changed the landscape for working families across the country. We are proud to have fought for FMLA, and we know how impactful it has been for workers. But FMLA was a stepping stone. 30 years after its passage, 62% of Illinois families still cannot take even unpaid leave that they need without risking their jobs or their economic security. It's time we change that. 11 states and DC have already taken the important step of providing workers with paid family and medical leave. Illinois should and needs to be next. Illinois is a leader in putting workers first. Just last month, we passed a bill that provided up to 40 hours or 5 days of paid leave for all workers for any reason. But that was only the first step. The Paid Leave for All Workers Act only covers short-term needs. We still need to tackle the longer-term needs that every family will inevitably face. As a coalition, we see the Family and Medical Leave Insurance Act as the natural next step in supporting Illinois workers. So let's get this done. Thank you. I'm now going to pass it to Senator Ron Villavellum to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm a little under the weather, and I'm glad that we can still get this going and make sure it happens today because we have a lot of work to do. It's great. It's great to be with you all. It's an honor to be here with Representative Harper and the entire coalition as we embark on a mission this session to pass comprehensive paid family and medical leave in the state of Illinois and send it to Governor Pritzker's desk for his signature. I am proud to introduce Senate Bill 1234. I wish this is going to be as easy as 1234, but it won't. And that's okay, because this is a big issue across the board. This is an issue that is important to our workers. Time and time again, we've heard from everyone, across the state, the heroism and the gratitude that we have to our essential workers during the pandemic, after the pandemic, and so much more. We've heard from them. They need this legislation. They need this safety net. They need to be able to take paid family and medical leave when they have a family member that's ill or an expecting child coming into the world. That is just something that they're asking for, and quite frankly, they deserve. We've also heard from our businesses. Our small businesses in the state of Illinois have talked time and time again to us about the challenge of retaining a talented workforce. And we know that it's about wages. We know that it's about working conditions. We also know that it is about benefits. And we've seen, we don't have to start from zero. We've seen from the other states that have done this, from the other countries that have done this, how effective this policy is at retaining workers. And so I am so proud to have this coalition that is so diverse in nature, because it really speaks to how much everyone is committed to getting this done. I also want to add that the polling also shows that the general public is for this. We know that people support this policy because they know someone or they are themselves a worker that needs this paid leave. And so with that, I just want to say thank you again to this coalition, Representative Harper for leading the charge in the House. We're going to get it done. We are absolutely going to get this done this year. And I'm looking forward to that bill signing. So thanks so much.
We'll now turn it over to Representative Harper for her thoughts.
Thank you so much. And as Senator Villabalam said, thank you to the coalition. Looking forward to getting this done this session. Nearly everyone will someday need to take substantial time off to care for themselves or a loved one or to bond with a new child. Yet without paid family and medical leave, many workers, and especially women, are forced to choose between their jobs and their families or their own health. Most working people in the United States do not have paid family leave through their jobs, including about 77% or about 5 million workers here in Illinois. Even unpaid leave under the Federal Family and Medical Leave Act is inaccessible for 62% of our residents. Now, the lack of paid family and medical leave exacerbates our state's economic and care challenges, from the rising cost of living to an aging population with devastating costs for families, public health, and the economy. Paid family and medical leave is not just important for caring for children, but for elders, for those with disabilities, and for survivors of domestic violence. Paid family and medical leave can also improve maternal health, especially for Black women. Short-term paid leave policies like the Paid Leave for All Workers Act, which passed in January, and long-term paid family and medical leave are crucial policies for economic security and to begin to close wealth gaps. The president even said it in his State of the Union address last night. Paid family medical leave will increase productivity and provide relief for families who desperately need it. As stated before, the United States is the only industrialized nation that does not guarantee its workers access to any kind of paid family and medical leave. If women in Illinois participated in the labor force at the same rate as women in countries with paid leave, there would be an estimated 124,000 additional workers in the state and 4.4 billion more wages earned statewide. So for all the reasons that have been stated before, Illinois needs a comprehensive, universal paid family and medical leave program that includes all workers, no matter where they live or work or what kind of job that they have. I look forward to passing the Family and Medical Leave Insurance Act, that's House Bill 1530, and also moving Senate Bill 1234. This is the kind of comprehensive plan that Illinois workers need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Representative Harper. I'll turn it over to Tasha Brown with the Small Business Majority.
Thank you for inviting me to provide the small business perspective on the importance of state-run paid family and medical leave insurance legislation such as Senate Bill 1234 and House Bill 1530. I'm honored to represent Small Business Majority on the Illinois Time to Care Coalition and help encourage the Illinois General Assembly to pass legislation that will give small business employers an opportunity to provide critical benefits at minimum cost to their bottom lines. I'm the Midwest Director for Small Business Majority. Every day I work with small business owners from across Illinois from various industries. I'm happy to work with some of the state's 1.2 million small businesses who employ almost half of Illinois. These job creators range from being third-generation business owners, lifestyle brand entrepreneurs, to bakers who all want to build their American dream through entrepreneurship. But despite their aspirations, they're often challenged when it comes to competing with larger companies for quality talent. Small business owners know it makes good business sense to take care of their employees, and it's crucial to recruiting workforce and workforce retention. But unfortunately, small businesses face an uphill battle when trying to recruit. They don't have the resources to compete with larger companies that can afford to provide paid leave benefits. That's why it's so important that state lawmakers enact policies and programs to support and empower these entrepreneurs, helping them provide paid leave as a benefit to their employees. A state-administered paid leave insurance program will help to make small businesses more competitive by ensuring that all workers can receive paid family leave, regardless of the size of the company at which they work. What's more, we've heard, as has been stated already, from many small businesses who agree that paid family and medical leave doesn't just make good business sense, but it also helps them take care of their small workforce who they often consider to be their family. Policies like the Family and Medical Leave Insurance Act enable small business owners to foster a better workforce while protecting their workers and their bottom lines. As a mom myself, I know the importance of being able to support a family. A state-run paid family medical leave program will be a wonderful support to other moms who are also childcare providers, food truck owners, coffee shop owners who want to have enough resources to take care of their work family and also keep their business running. We need a comprehensive paid family and medical leave policy to build our nation's care infrastructure and grow our long-term economy. Passing this legislation will retain more low-income and small business employees. It will also help to build a healthier working environment that can lead to a strong state economy. I look forward to participating in future Time to Care Coalition advocacy and helping to move the needle for a real change and investment in our nature's care infrastructure.
Thank you so much, Tasha. I'll turn it over to Wendy Pollack with the Shriver Center on Poverty Law. Wendy, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. My name is Wendy Pollack, and I'm the director of the Women's Law and Policy Initiative at the Shriver Center on Poverty Law. No one should have to choose a paycheck over their health and the health of their family. The Shriver Center on Poverty Law is advocating for paid family and medical leave because we care about all workers in Illinois, but particularly those who face the biggest barriers. That's why we're focused on creating a level playing field for women workers with low wages, Black workers, and Latinx workers, groups of workers who in many cases are not eligible for or cannot afford to take unpaid leave. Here's what we know about these workers. Workers earning wages in the bottom 25 percentile are the least likely to have access to any form of leave. In Illinois, under the federal FMLA Act, Black and Latinx workers are 5% and 12% less likely than white workers to be eligible for or able to afford unpaid family or medical leave. While women make up half the workforce, they were responsible for the majority of unpaid family, household, and care work, which has a significant impact on their health and well-being. Maintaining an attachment to the workforce is vital to women's economic stability. An employment gap of just 1 year leads to a 39% decrease in annual earnings, and that increases over time. But less than half of employed women report having access to any paid family and medical leave. Combined with other racial disparities in employment and access to health care, the lack of paid leave aggravates racial inequities. And we know the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the importance of FMLA to public health. Workers with low wages are even further disadvantaged because they get few benefits from their employers to help manage work-life conflict and often hold jobs with inconsistent or unpredictable schedules that exacerbate these conflicts. The solution is an Illinois paid family and medical leave program that would allow workers to take time off to address their own challenges or care for family members. Not only is this good for workers, it's good for employers as well by helping them retain employees. Workers who are afforded leave are more likely to return to work. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Wendy. I'll turn it over to Ugo from Raise the Floor Alliance.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Ugo Carrick, and I'm the Policy Director for Raise the Floor Alliance. Raise the Floor Alliance represents a broad base of the working class across the state of Illinois. These are folks working in factories, restaurants, day labor, temp staffing, domestic work, and everything in between. That's why it's so important that as we embark on this campaign, this bill remains inclusive to all workers and captures the shifting dynamic of the workforce to include traditional and non-traditional workforces. No matter if you're an office worker or domestic worker, you should be able to take time off to welcome a new child into the home, take care of a sick and ailing loved one, or just take care of yourself. The United States, and consequently the state of Illinois, lags behind the rest of the world, its counterparts regarding this common sense legislation. Let's give workers and their families time to care while they have it. I want to pass it off to Angelica, coming from our Member Worker Center Chicago Workers Collaborative, talk a little bit about how passing this legislation would benefit her family. And then I'll translate. Angelica?
Sí, buenos días. Mi nombre es Angélica Reguín y soy parte de Chicago Workers Colaborativa. Como trabajadora temporal y madre soltera, tener un permiso de larga duración sería significativo. Cuando uno de mis hijos está enfermo, tengo que obtener una nota del médico solo para obtener permiso para tener un día de trabajo sin goce de sueldo, porque los trabajadores temporales como yo no reciben beneficios ni tiempo de enfermedad. En mis años trabajando para agencias temporales, sé de primera mano que les importa más mantener el trabajo en marcha que dejar que alguien se tome el tiempo que necesita. Fui despedida en una agencia temporal porque tenía una lesión que no se curó en el tiempo que ellos querían y necesitaba más tiempo para recuperarme. Y si llega un día en que mis hijos se enferman y necesito dejar el trabajo por un mes, es seguro que me despidan en lugar de que me permitan regresar. Los trabajadores necesitan políticas de tiempo fuera pagado que tomen en cuenta las realidades de las responsabilidades familiares. Así que los invito a todos a luchar para hacer realidad este proyecto de ley. Muchas gracias por su tiempo.
Muchas gracias, Angelica. I will just translate very briefly. My name is Angelica, and I'm a member of the Chicago Workers Collaborative. As a temp worker and single mother, having paid long-term leave would be significant. When one of my children is sick, I have to get a doctor's note just to get permission to miss a day of work without pay, because temp workers like myself don't get sick time benefits. In my years working for temp agencies, I know firsthand that they care more about keeping the work going than letting someone take the time they need. I was fired by a temp agency because my injury did not heal on their schedule and I needed more time to recover. And if there comes a day that my children become ill and I need to leave work for a month, I expect to be fired instead of being allowed to return. Workers need paid leave policies that are in touch with the realities of family responsibilities. So I urge you all to fight to make this bill real. Thank you.
Gracias, Angelica and Hugo. And I will turn it over to our final speaker, Christina Green.
Thanks, Sarah. In 2020, while pregnant with my first child, I learned that I would only receive 2 weeks of paid maternity leave by my employer. At the time, the private school I worked for had a tiered system for maternity leave. A person who had worked at the school for up to 1 year would receive 1 week of paid maternity leave. 2 years, 2 weeks, 3 years, 3 weeks, up until around 7 years, when an employee would be eligible to receive 12 weeks of paid maternity leave. In order for me to spend 12 weeks with my son after giving birth and give myself adequate time to heal, I had to use a combination of methods to ensure financial stability. During this time, I made more than my husband, and my financial contributions helped to keep our household running. We could not afford to only live off of one income for 12 weeks. So to ensure that I could contribute financially while on maternity leave, I used a week of paid vacation time, and I also had to withdraw money from a retirement account that I had. My husband also worked a second job to close any gaps in income that we would experience during this time. I literally budgeted down to the last dollar. By the time I returned to work after 12 weeks of leave, I had no savings. The stress of not having 12 weeks of paid maternity leave, as well as giving birth during the height of the pandemic, caused for a much longer healing process than I had anticipated. 6 weeks was not enough time for me to fully heal, but neither was 12 weeks. It actually took me around 20 weeks to fully heal. Unfortunately, I had no other options but to return to work. One saving grace was that the company my husband worked for at the time was a progressive company, and they offered him 12 weeks of paid paternity leave. He was able to take over when I needed to rest. He was able to bond with our son, which was just as important to him as it was to me. I now work at Women Employed, and I have the peace of knowing that if I chose to have another child, that I would have 12 weeks of paid maternity leave. But no one should have to win the employer lottery in order to receive the benefit of long-term leave, nor should we shape policy in that way. Parental leave is important. Financial stability when planning a family is important. And that's why there should be legislation passed for paid family and medical leave. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. So that concludes the prepared notes portion. I know there may be some employers or some folks in the audience with questions, reporters with questions. So I will turn it over to my team to, if folks want to raise their hand, if you have a question.
Looks like we have a question from Talia Soglin at the Chicago Tribune.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Hi, thank you for having us. I was wondering, you mentioned 11 states in DC, I think, that have similar laws. Can you, describe what those laws are like, how Illinois, the Illinois law would compare to theirs in terms of how much leave is being offered, how they're structured, how it's being paid for, that kind of thing?
I can do some of that. They're very different and very disparate. Some states have as many as 52 weeks. And so for different things. So in terms of the duration of leave, I think we're probably close to the middle. In terms of how it's paid for, a few states, or DC does have a fully employer paid program. Many states have a combination of employee and employer paid program. But they're to be honest, many states have taken this on in different ways. And so the specifics of those bills are pretty all over the place. And when we looked at our bill, we both looked, or, when we were crafting this bill, we looked at, what other states had and tried to be somewhere, in that realm. But also worked with our coalition, the Time to Care Coalition, to really understand what Illinois needs and what the needs of the Illinois workforce are, to craft what we have.
Thank you. And sorry, just a quick follow-up if you're able, and apologies if I missed this, but how much time is in this bill? How much paid leave? And can you describe the pay structure just briefly?
Yep. The bill is 26 weeks of job protected paid leave. It also allows, there are a number of reasons for that leave, but they include the sort of typical reasons to care for your own serious illness, the illness of a sick family member, to welcome a new child, whether through birth, adoption, foster care placement, and other, for reasons related to school and care closures. There's also some additional leave that workers could take if they are experiencing if they're having trouble with a healthy pregnancy. So sort of additional leave to ensure that their pregnancy is healthy, and to take that leave to bond with their new baby and recover from childbirth. The pay structure is 0.73% of wages paid by employers, with up to 0.05% additional amount that would go to the administration of the program.
Thank you.
Okay, and Joe? Did you have a question? And are you with a media outlet? We'll start with media questions first, but happy to take any others.
Where's the AA meeting? I would like to know. 'Cause
Okay.
I
Can you
raped,
go, please? Okay.
I raped somebody. I raped somebody.
Okay. We'll get Joe off there.
I raped somebody.
Here, let's take Joe off, please. Thank you. Okay, reporter questions only, please. And if there aren't any, we're happy to follow up as needed. Okay. Yeah, I don't see any other reporter questions at the moment. Hold on one second, please. We'll just make sure. Thank you for standing by while we just make sure we've got. Okay. No, Nick. Okay, I think we've got all our reporter questions. And we thank you all for joining us today. And please do follow up if you have other questions at a later time. I'll kick it back to Sarah.
Thank you, everyone. I encourage you to go to the Illinois Time to Care Coalition website, which is iltimetocare.org. And we will look forward to passing this bill, these two bills, SB 1234 and HB 1530, this year. Thanks so much for joining.